In the Middle Ages, it was uncommon to criticize kings, and kings had to be careful with criticizing their influential network. Therefore, jesters were a sort of communication means. Sometimes a domestic jester was perceived as the king's reflection, his intellectual shadow. Usually, jesters had immunity against prosecution. Why we love humor is because humor breaks the schema of the conventional, of how it should be. Humor emerges a new meaning that makes sense. Why it is funny is because we are amazed with the discovery of the truth beyond the accepted. Wise Jester provides you with an infrastructural solution called the Intellectual and Immaterial Bank. Primarily, IIB solves the problem of exclusion of critical thinkers open to experience and experimentation with new information. Critical thinking sees alternatives and bigger picture. Questioning things is discomfortable because it leads to change. Established order and subordinated hierarchies hate change. They demand you to fit in. Pop culture nowadays is based on and promotes flocking, hype, and joining. IIB removes the problem of self-presentation and the stress of selling yourself to strangers who want to know everything about you while you know nothing about them. They compare you with others through their own biases and limitations, which is always a problem for you and never a problem for them. You and any other are on the same plane in IIB. It means that your data has the same importance as the data of another, or a group of people, and vice versa. IIB is blind. Nobody sees anybody through facial data. Facial data are photos, names, backgrounds, gender, age, videos. That is everything that causes biases. IIB runs on humor and the data generated from people's reactions to humor. Humor is about naturally autonomous thinking. It is an independent professional who initiates and runs collaborations in IIB. All the interconnected independent professionals receive meaningful connections which would last long term. Nobody is compared to another. No ratings, no fitting in. Individuality and intellectual diversity for meaningful, harmonious, long-term work on seriously challenging topics with greater social impact, this is what IIB is providing as its product and service. IIB is designed based on science and decades of experience with synergic collaborative environments. It is a machine, and no middleman can intervene and influence people's choices. In IIB, people are disconnected from the pressure of contexts. That makes their choices pure and well-informed regarding their personal strengths and the real needs in collaborations. The Intellectual and Immaterial Bank was created because I know that everyone has their own intellectual and immaterial capital. As a creator of IIB, I'm solving the problems I have experienced myself as a foreigner who thought that I was a cosmopolitan, that the world was open and collaborative, inclusive, and intellectually diverse. I thought so. I want the world to be welcoming, not selective. Humans are not resources. Every human is unique and valuable. Every human should be able to decide how to invest their intellectual beauty and to be able to pick a collaboration that deserves that. The collaborations should be having socially oriented goals and constructive side effects. Person to person, collaboration to person, person to collaboration. This is how we build a responsive global civil society. And I'm fed up with the people's superficial judgments based on the visual information. That's why IIB is content-focused, data-driven, and blind. We consist of 5 people. Anna is the main founder and a chief executive officer. I stand behind the whole complexity of the Intellectual and Immaterial Bank, its research and development, and specs. I do user experience research, develop the business model, communicate, and write pitches as crazy. Alex is our co-founder and a chief technology officer. He stands for our full-stack web development, human-computer interaction, and the watch for fundraising. Alex has experience with developing business platforms for international clients, and he is very competitive. Our chairwoman, Elizabeth, does marketing, audience targeting, fundraising, and she advises us in capitalization. Elizabeth has experience with several successful startups who fundraised previously. Our advisor in tokenization and capitalization, which would incentivize the users to initiate and develop their collaborations by investing their own data into the most interesting projects and get return, is Austin. He is an experienced entrepreneur in the space of blockchain and crypto. Our Web3 advisor for community building is Ricky. He also creates ideas about use cases, capitalization and outreach. We are creating a fan base around the Intellectual and Immaterial Bank, along with its proper communication to the public. We love working all together because we hear each other, we trust each other, we share the vision. Our team consists of true fans of the idea, the Intellectual and Immaterial Bank. Speaking of success, we have implemented our machine as envisioned. The automation, which does the job of going in depth of your organic, playful thinking and navigates you towards the people who would harmoniously collaborate with you, is done. The success is that people are using it and nobody is involved in assisting the machine. The machine is intelligent. Our challenge is to convey to a larger audience why the game of complementarity is better than the usual joining, meeting the list of tasks and someone's expectations. Our challenge is that IAB is a chain of solutions for intellectual inclusion and diversity, global collaborative communion, facilitation of focusing on intellectually painful, unconventional initiatives. We are learning about how we can make the user journey in our technology more intuitive. IAB is made to facilitate more and more flat, holacratic forms of working, and that scares shit out of many brilliant but insecure people who are quite many in the current situation in the world. But our solution is global, and we are pushing and pushing. We expect to learn more about unconventional cases and situations for problem solving. We tokenize IAB, and we would appreciate side expertise and advice regarding building business models on Web3. What would you recommend?
Thank you.